Hello, and welcome to Shite Talk, an Irish history podcast. I'm not dead, Kevin Larney. Why are you telling people I'm dead?
Look who's back. Back again. Brendan Bracken.
Jason's back. Has no friends. Hey.
No one missed him when he was fake dead.
Not even one.
That's like
My mother didn't even ask.
No.
No one checked in. You think one fan would have messaged me, given the fact that they all have my phone number?
They do, and not a peep from the fan base.
No, not even a little bow.
This seems like a sad sitcom B plot where the main character fakes their own death and then no one notices.
And then just slowly come back in, just get out of the coffin, just be like, I'm just going to seamlessly slip back into society.
Yeah.
Like,
actually, I suppose It's Always Sunny did that.
Oh, you're right. But they've like a 12 seasons. They've done everything now. It's like South Park. Or
They've
Simpsons.
done it all, yeah, that's true. Good job, new Charlie. It's a good job. That's a flawless Danny DeVito there.
That is. Do you want to hear something that wasn't flawless?
Yeah.
The aim of the woman who I saw last night throw a beer in a comedian's face.
First of all, excellent segue. Secondly, I saw that in your Instagram story this morning, but I was trying to figure out, was that like a metaphor, or is like someone literally threw a beer in his face?
Oh, literally. I think it's like the equivalent of milkshake and Nazi or whatever, that thing that was going around like a couple of years ago.
Yeah. Was it milkshake? I remember that Australian kid threw an egg at some Australian politician.
Okay. Or it could have just been Halloween as well.
It could have just been, and then someone milkshaked for Adker.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, but that's what, because in America they were always like, oh, milkshake and Nazi or whatever, and then people always like, oh, if you hear something that you don't like, then that gives you carte blanche to go up and assault somebody with liquid, and it doesn't.
I think
it doesn't.
Maybe they got Nigel Farage as well.
Oh,
also a milkshake is like the whitest. Take that, white supremacist. So I throw in like the whitest drink at somebody.
Yeah, and delicious as well though.
It is delicious.
The comic Leo Canopy, funny guy. We'll tag him there somewhere so fans can go and follow. So he goes up, he's doing his set, he does a little bit of crowd work. It's a bit of banter, it's some crack, it's nothing mad. It's, if you've ever been to a comedy gig before, it's just along the lines. He's a good crowd work comic. And there was a girl and a man in the front row, and the guy takes umbrage with whatever the fuck he's after saying and calls him a little bitch 4 times, and then stands up and throws a beer in his face. But
wait, Leo called the guy a little bitch?
No, your man says it to him like 4 times and then stands up and throws a beer in his face. But in the meantime, the girl's after leaving. She goes into the bar. She queues up. She doesn't just go to the water tap, because that's free, it's already there. She doesn't go get the water. She stands in line, queues up, buys a beer, and not your $3 PBR or Lone Star or like the cheap, well whiskey, all of that. No, goes up and buys a fucking IPA. 7 or 8 quid. And then just walks out, makes a beeline for the stage, just fucking propels it towards Leo. It smashes all over his face just after he'd wiped himself down, and then just runs off in the same direction as the other lad. But I didn't realise afterward the bouncers tried to stop her as she was going. She didn't even get rid of the whole beer. Do you know how weak your throw has to be that you can't empty 1 pint glass?
Well,
I've dropped pint glasses by mistake.
Well, maybe she was aware of how much she'd spent on the beer, as you say, and only wanted to put half of it out.
Well, now you're thinking like a cheap Irishman, or like myself, for lack of a better word.
Yeah.
But
I've already been in that mindset.
Yeah, no, I've already been through
I know
that.
what you're going to say.
I was actually walking over going, hey, if they're kicking you out, can I have the rest of that beer? Because they're not going to let you keep that.
It's hardly going in the evidence drawer or whatever. I'll take care of that. I'll bring that down to the station. Yeah, don't worry about it.
You throwing that beer up for the boot, because if you are, I'm well in for it.
But, right, so while the first guy, you don't know what Leo said to him. I suppose it doesn't matter. So he goes into...
He made a passing reference to whether the guy was seeing the girl or whether maybe he had to pay for it.
Right, so this is this is like standard attractive woman, fridge-looking man.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, that's just classic fun. I mean, at those stages, you just gotta... If you're punching above your weight in a relationship, just take the licks, you know?
Oh, it's a good thing. Everyone will just laugh and go, oh,
it's a good thing.
Not only does he have a sense of humor, his missus is gorgeous.
Yes. And then you're like, that's, you know, we all laugh, but inside we're like, that it makes sense now. He's a good character. But now if he starts calling you a little bitch and then gets up and throws a liquid in your face
4 times in about 10
4
seconds.
times, now everyone's saying, now I see why they're in a relationship, but it's the bad way. It's the bad thing. Also,
maybe he does pay for it. That was my whole thinking afterwards, was like, seems like he touched a nerve. I mean, seems like the guy probably pays for it.
Definitely.
He looked like a guy who paid for it.
Now, getting up and throwing your drink in someone's face and then running away, that seems like a little bitch move.
Yes.
So this is classic deflection.
So now you're thinking, oh, this guy must be a small kind of like an arts or theatre student. He can't be. No, a fully grown 6'4", 20 stone adult man.
Sorry, wait. The assailant is a fully grown 6'4" adult man.
A full grown adult man.
I was
Leo's
picturing
my height.
like
Leo's like 5'7", 5'8". And this guy...
I'm assuming that Leo is just like every male comic in his 20s. He's, you know,
yes.
He's got the same build we all have.
You're somewhere between 5'7" and 5'11". Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah. You're about somewhere...
A little bit of a chip in his shoulder.
And 350 pounds. Because that can just go anywhere.
The weight can fluctuate. There's a minimum, but there's no maximum. But yeah, okay, so he's... So that's crazy.
Yeah.
But then, So this is obviously something that they're... Either this is like the biggest coincidence ever, and while the two of them are getting kicked out, they're like, did you throw it? I threw a beer in his face. No way. This is why we work together. Or else they've done this before. The fact that like they went separately and threw... Because I assume if she was out getting the beer, she didn't see him throw the first one.
Or maybe she had just seen it. I'm trying to think. Maybe he threw it and then they both went off, but I'm not... Because there was a good minute and a half between the first and second beer throws.
Yeah.
It was weird. Also, I wonder though, did your man have to give her the card so she could go and buy the beer? It definitely didn't look like it didn't look like the kind of relationship where she was buying her own drinks.
Sure, yeah. Well, then that's the sort of stuff that'll get you a beer thrown in your face, Jason.
Here, darling, take the card, go in there, buy yourself a beer. If you come back and fuck it at this guy's face for me, please.
Get me a rosé as well while you're up there. I'm not queuing twice.
But yeah, that's my story for the week.
So what happened to the two of them then?
Oh, sure, like fucking everything. They just left. And then the bouncers are like, oh, that's not okay. You shouldn't do that. But also, you can't really physically restrain somebody and wait for the police to come because someone's thrown beer at somebody.
Yeah. I mean...
It's a rite of passage as well, in a way, for a comedian. That, like, you know, you want that to happen. Because it's
a funny story. I mean, I'm sure at the time he thought it was bad, but now it'll be funny.
Yeah.
Or else you'll just take it as a bit. I'll take it
You'll take it as a bit, having never met him. Yeah,
You're going back to being dead, actually, now. You've been written out of this podcast. I'm stealing your jokes. Well, this is the first time we've both been here for the intro this season, I think.
I think you're right.
Is that true?
Yeah, the time difference has really been fucking us over this season.
Yeah. Now that society's opening back up a bit, we're both even more busy than we were when there was nothing happening.
Well, yeah. Well, I've been busy anyway because we haven't been locked down. You keep throwing me into that like I'm still in Ireland. Or, you know, we've been, you know, now things are opening up again. It's like it's been since July last year. It's been exactly a year for me now.
Yeah, but now that things are opening up for me, we're both busy. But I'm trying to find. So I was gonna get some nice reviews there recently.
Oh yeah. I'm gonna give a quick shout out to Jerry McCourt. That's it. One of my friends works with it, Janine, and she said you found the podcast without her telling you to and enjoyed it. So there's a weird shit. That might be. If you imagine if you didn't expect your name to be on it, it's like if I'm listening to, I don't know, Guardian Football Weekly, and randomly they're just like, "Hey, Jason Brendan, weird shout out."
That'd be fun. I guess you wouldn't think. Yeah, you wouldn't think it was you because Jason Brendan, I suppose, could be. That's a commonish name, maybe. And what was his name?
Jamie. How about go fuck yourself? How about that?
I knew you were going to get annoyed with that. But it is a common name.
It is not. Find me another Jason Brennan.
I'll find you 7.
In the Irish comedy scene.
There's been a guy here ripping you off since you left.
Yeah, his name's Kevin Arney.
I had to call in a lockdown threat just to get him off stage. But that's cool. I'd enjoy it. Well... This is a tangent now on common names, but I literally just had a call with someone at work there that I hadn't met before, and he was sharing his screen to show me something. And when he went on to Google Chrome, the last page he'd been looking at was Kevin. Like, that was the tab that was open, and it was just like, he just went, whoop, and then closed it. But I can only assume he was looking up how to pronounce Kevin, but he's English. I mean, like...
Oh, I was just pronounced Kevin then.
Now, in fairness, like,
John?
It's an international team, and like a lot of them have trouble with like Kieran and Saoirse and whatever, and that's fair enough. But Kevin's like Kevin's a name that you should know.
English name. It's an English name.
The fucking Kevin Costner, he's English. Kevin Spacey, also English. I can't think of any English Kevins, but Kevin McAllister. Also, I noticed that like when you Google Kevin McAllister's face comes up. He's a fake. That's Macaulay Culkin. You couldn't find a real Kevin to put up there?
Maybe there is no famous Kevins.
I was literally just talking to my mum last weekend about how like Kevin Costner, there's loads of... It's a pretty common...
You went up to your mum and were like, look, we need to talk about Kevin.
Yeah, there you go. A famous film. Maybe he'd never seen it written down before, but I don't know. But when my mum actually told me the other day that she named me Kevin because she wanted a name that was recognized all around the world and a name that couldn't be shortened.
Kev.
Yeah, exactly. And Philip as well. She was like, I didn't want your names to be shortened. Yeah. He goes by Phil. Yeah, I don't know.
Not even to the end of the word. Just start reading the word, and at any point, could you just put a line down and go, "Oh, that still makes sense."
But anyway, thanks for listening, Mr. McCourt.
And Kevin McAllister.
And Kevin McAllister. Big shout out to the original rude boy, Kevin.
He's been locked down. He's been home alone, binging all the episodes. Fair play to him. Up to season 5.
So who else?
Oh, there's so many. We should do.
I feel like we had lots of really nice messages over the last 3 months.
Yeah, I'm the same. But there's, you know what it is, Kevin? There's too many. I don't want to. I don't want
to leave anyone out.
There you go. It's not fair to be. Look, we've got. Well, let's just give a general shout out to everyone.
Thank you very very much to everyone who's paid into the Patreon or buy me a coffee in the last couple of weeks. It's fantastic. We really appreciate it.
Thanks for all of you, and for all of you who aren't paying, you go thank those people as well.
Send them a nice gift basket. But anyone who leaves a comment from here to the rest of the season, we'll give you a shout out in the next episode.
You say that, but what if we blow up and we have like 1 million comments?
Well, then if we have 1 million comments, I will read out every single one.
Oh yeah,
but if we have anywhere between like 5 and 1 million, I'm out. I'll read up to 5, and I'll read 1 million, but nothing in between.
I'm on board with that. I think we have time for that.
Yeah, you can take the rest of them.
Okay, deal.
You're just frantically trying to write it the 900,999,999th comment, so you don't have to do any work the next day.
You take that comment down, you pass it around. Only 9. But okay, so here's the second part of the story from last week. Part 2, that'd be, of the Brendan Bracken story, your man with Winston Churchill. Has been a very long intro already, so we'll just crack away into it. And a quick word that we're going to have another, the next episode will be up on Patreon for people who do pay, and then also we will have the follow-on from that. That's going to be next Thursday. We're going to have a full new all-exclusive Patreon episode just for ye fancy boys and girls.
Yes, it's a bonus episode based on the next story. But that was something Lisa pointed out to me, that we've slowly shifted to becoming a Wednesday podcast.
Yes.
We release on Wednesdays now, I think, but I don't know if we've ever said that, and all the blurbs still say Tuesday.
Yeah,
but
it's tough.
It's just it's not, because we record Sunday night, and then by the time we edit around 2 working days, it's Wednesday by the time it's actually done.
We still aim for Tuesday.
We aim for Tuesday and then fall amongst the stars, Failed gloriously, but I feel like we're a middle of the week podcast anyway. But that's it.
There you go.
That's good to do an intro again.
Yeah, this is our longest intro ever, I'd say. So it's making up for me just being in bed for the last 3 weeks. Right. Enjoy the episode. Here's Brendan Bracken, part 2.
Gather around now, you're in for a story. Old tales of lore, all in search of a glory. The history and mystery of lads, lasses and all. Discoveries and voyages, the rise and the fall. Follow me now.
So as a quick recap for the audience, and definitely not Kevin who remembers this because we talked about this 2 days ago. So actually, you might as well just do the recap then.
Well, all right. So his name was Brendan Bracken.
Mm-hmm.
This sounds like it's off to a shaky start. But he was a young Irish lad. He went to Australia. He changed his name, but he changed his middle name for some reason. So that changed his identity. Came back to Europe, went to England, and then got involved in politics and became Winston Churchill's advisor. And then got into politics himself, like became a politician. And I think the last bit we talked about, he just helped Churchill become prime minister.
And big in the newspapers and the
big in
magazines.
Yes. A big media mogul.
Yeah. But good, no, fair play to you. That's, the timelines might
bad.
be, like bits and pieces. No, but you got it. You got it. It's there.
Yeah. You told me 2 days ago. It'd be bad if I... I didn't remember.
No, Kevin, I told you 5 minutes ago before the podcast started.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, and I did forget that media thing again.
Yeah, so I actually ended in the exact same way. To end it by going, it's also the main part of his life was he was a giant media mogul. Because he would do that when he wasn't in politics. Well, because obviously he wouldn't be in all the time.
Yeah,
but he's in now with Churchill after they'd been out in the cold for quite a while, politically speaking.
Yes,
but now they're back in. Churchill's the wartime prime minister. He got like we were saying in the last episode, he got Churchill in as a prime minister by telling Churchill to not give his seal of approval to Lord Halifax, who was set to take over from Neville Chamberlain when he stepped down. So he just said nothing, and then he got the job. That's how you do. That's just, don't ever say anything.
Yeah.
Don't do anything.
No, keep the head down.
Yeah, keep the head down, grab a hold of coattails.
This is the complete opposite of what we were talking about just before this episode.
Yeah, well, just by doing things, it makes life a lot better. Yeah. Say nothing.
Say nothing. And just...
Say nothing, do nothing.
Yeah. Do everything, say nothing.
Well, that's actually I like that idea. That's a lot better than the people who talk an awful lot and do feck all. But it's 1940 now, and Bracken has just been integral in getting Churchill elected as the Prime Minister for what will be World War II. When Churchill was elected, Bracken helped him move into 10 Downing Street, which I assume was the exact same as any time I've helped any friends move houses.
What do you mean? Yeah, you helped them move. It's hardly like helping them lift furniture into the place. I'm sure
I bet
they have people for that.
No, you definitely got the Irish fella to do it.
Bracken, you must know a couple of lads. I don't know. Here's £1.
Or maybe he helped him move. He was like, no, you can come over. I'll do all the packing. I just want company. You can just hang around. You can drink cans, but I just need to talk to someone as I'm packing up all this shite.
Yeah.
And then you have to start helping them move bed frames. Well, you're already here. I'm not going to do it on my own. You're here. Just give me a hand. You're like,
have you gotten tricked like that before?
I'm an idiot.
That's not a thing that, like, actually, no, just come over and you can just do nothing and watch me work and have cans. It'll be fun.
Yeah, I know. I trust people too much.
Yeah.
So in World War II, Kevin, do you remember England?
Yeah.
Yeah, still a thing today. And the Allies.
Yeah.
Not today.
Not so much, no.
That was that ended right after. It was very much so a marriage of convenience. You think they could have been friends afterwards and all stayed together?
Yeah, they can't. Well, even by the end of World War II, they'd already turned on the Russians.
But yeah, so the England and the Allies, us good guys, because we won.
Yeah, I mean, you say us, though. We weren't there.
No, I mean, we weren't alive, Kevin.
Or, but I mean, Ireland wasn't there either.
You shut your goddamn mouth.
Especially
you shut your goddamn mouth right now.
Yeah, we rallied in.
Ireland were there, just not under the banner of Ireland itself. It's like we had a lot of lads there just fighting for other countries.
That's true. We talked about it before, but didn't like Dev send condolence flowers to the German Chancellor, or no, the German ambassador in Dublin after Hitler died?
But that's a good. Some people would say that's not a good thing, but that's a nice move. He's got some tact.
It's a touch of class.
Yeah.
I think before the Holocaust stuff came out, we were still like, you know what, Germany, at least they're not British.
Yeah, I suppose there is that.
Yeah,
it's one of those your enemy's enemies, your friend. but it's kind of tough to be friends when it's Germany.
It's 1940s Germany.
Like there's a line to that saying. But so it's around this time that where the Allies need help from the USA.
Yeah.
Because they're short in supplies. So they need supplies and they need some help from the US. So President Roosevelt sends over Harry Hopkins. He's right-hand kind of a man. And he sends him over to see if America should join the cause. And who was there to meet him and charm the arse off him as soon as he lands?
Old Bracken.
Oh, our boy Brendan. Could you imagine the hijinks?
Brendan Bracken and Harry Hopkins.
Yeah, it's probably a lot of pints, whiskey. Well, whiskey, I imagine, for the upper class.
Yeah,
you couldn't be bloating out with all that Guinness.
There's something just very weird about like whining and dining someone to try and convince them to join
a war.
The biggest war. Sure, come on, it's all...
No, one more. Come on, we'll have one more. Are you putting all that in the company card? Are you putting...
Stop, don't you put your hand in your pocket, Harry. You're in England now. You're on our time. If you go to pay for that, you'll start a world war. Speaking of, have you got any guns?
Well, so he did well enough. I couldn't find reports of what they did and where they went, but I imagine it was just a nice little meal and a quiet evening, a little bit of spot of afternoon tea, and off you go home to, I don't know, Baltimore, wherever he's from. I don't know.
Well, they hardly sent him home that night. I'm sure they let him stay in England
for a few hours, I imagine.
They crash on a couch, kick him out in the morning.
Sorry, actually, I have to go to work here now, Harry. And I would usually you could stay, but it's just I don't really know you that well, so it's just. And I know it's awkward. I go to work very early. It's only 7:00. But if you could you leave? Could you leave now? No, I'm actually going the other way. I can't give you a lift to town. I've been tricked as well.
Yeah, I don't know if you're Harry or the other person in that situation.
I've been both.
Probably both.
Yeah. But anyway, the Americans send over supplies. I think you knew that from history.
I did, yes.
Which is good because now England has a giant major ally, and it's all so that's a big part of history there. Bracken whining and dining.
Yeah.
Harry Hopkins. That's not undersell that.
No, that is pretty mad.
But see, at this point, Churchill.
So there was no information about what he did. Like,
no, and
how many strippers were involved.
Nor would I want
how much cocaine.
I wouldn't want to slander the man. I wouldn't want to.
No,
this is not a podcast where we just take pointed jabs at people for no reason.
Absolutely not.
No. At this point, Churchill needed Bracken doing something other than being his wingman. So he's right-hand man behind the scenes. I don't think he was out trying to pick up. Well, although he had the Irish accent, so it could have been. Yeah, maybe. But he needs him to go do something else where he's like, you need a serious position of power here. I can't have you just working, but like your man from House of Cards.
Yeah, Doug Stamper.
Yeah, the fixer.
Yeah.
You're like, so it's instead, he's like, no, you can be the head of something. So who he becomes? What's his expertise? What's he good at?
Charming war dogs.
If you forget one more time that he has a vast career.
Yeah. Make him the head of propaganda.
Yeah, Minister of Information.
There you go.
He's the first man to ever hold the post because previously there had only ever been misinformation.
So he's Minister for Information, and so at no point has anyone done a background check. Because he's lied about his name and who he is.
A background check.
But even a brief background check would be like, all right, well, he's not who he says he is.
I told you that story the other day, though, of your man from Carlow who was stabbing people and went to Boston and killed his wife. And no one was checking into him, and that was only a couple of years ago.
Yeah, but this guy's now the Minister of Information.
Yeah, but it's before smartphones.
Yeah, that's true, yeah. Why would they bother checking, I suppose,
But also
he's probably in charge. It's probably one of those situations where you're like the people that would be doing the check-in are now under his advisement.
It's him.
He's the guy that they would be getting to check into himself.
Yeah, you'd say so. Like you'd do everything you could to hide. It would you have to do everything you can. You have to go to the end of the earth. The lie becomes your life.
Mm-hmm.
That's Although there's never, I haven't found too many things in this where people are like, hey, that guy's definitely not who he says he is. There's twice it happened, I think, in his life, maybe 3 times. And even at that, it was just kind of swept under the rug.
Yeah, sure.
People just didn't care.
Which is strange, but...
Well, he was very tall.
Right. That helps.
Yeah. You're going to get away with more because you have more of an air and grace about you. You're kind of, people respect you more because you're big.
Mm-hmm.
Especially if you can talk well and command a room, dress well and all that crack. It's definitely better to be like 6'5".
Yeah, well, he's basically Don Draper then.
Yeah. Right, so now if he's the Minister of Information, so the press minister now, he's there to fight the Nazi propaganda machine, which would be who?
Lord Haw-Haw.
Lord Haw-Haw himself. You would have had two of them, two Irishmen.
Yeah.
Well, I suppose both of them were pretending to be from different countries.
That's true, yeah. Both men ashamed of their heritage.
Yeah.
And
one
very much so.
Yeah, I think both of them kind of in a way, it seems.
Yeah.
But both some of the heads of propaganda during World War II.
Yeah, that's very weird. That's very weird though. To be the heads of that they're both on opposite sides of heads of propaganda for Germany and Britain. Neither of them are German or British.
Yeah, and also, well, he would have had to listen to Haw-Haw all the time. And he must have been there going, there's something up with this fella's accent. It doesn't sound quite right. I don't know. I can't put my finger on it.
Yeah.
Just a load of Irish lads all lying about their identity.
Yeah. Actually, yeah, World War II. The shocking amount of Irish lads just pretending to be like Russian, Italian. Like,
which is,
we will not take this slap to Italian democracy. This is an affront to everything we stand for. Well, I mean, I assume. I'm not from here at all myself.
Yeah, the boys seem good crack, though.
Yeah.
You should have a clip to play.
The auburn-haired new Minister of Information arrives in his ministry to be welcomed by his friends and colleagues of Fleet Street. In the press room, Mr. Brendan Bracken is greeted with a sally.
They say ginger for pluck, and you've got a lot of pluck to take on this job.
I agree with you. After which he talks frankly about his job.
I was conscripted here. I don't know for what reason. Perhaps there's one reason, and that is I am myself a pressman. And I understand the duty of a pressman is to dish out the news. And I know exactly the amount of faithful and splendid work done in this building by the members of the journalistic profession. I come to you there, therefore, as a colleague, absolutely. I'm a pressman, I'm interested in news. And if I can't get any news into the papers, well, the sooner that I depart from these premises, the better for you all and the better for the country.
Okay, so he's, maybe you did say this in the last one then, but he's a ginger.
Yes. I don't know if I said, I don't know if I said that. Also,
I don't know.
You only know that by looking at a black and white video.
Yeah. Well, in the thing there, they called him auburn hair. And I was like, all right, so he's a redhead. And one of the guys was like, they say it's redhead for good luck, or pluck a ginger for good luck, or whatever. You've got a lot of it. So I don't know why. That just makes the whole thing more,
because he's so obviously
brazen.
Irish. Yeah,
he's got a big paddy head in him. Now he's doing the accent well.
Yeah, that's why I wanted you to look at that video, and I'll play that audio for the listeners there. By now, that's the magic of podcasting. But
he's a handsome man.
And jeez, it's a good accent. He is after getting the English accent down to a T. He's all crumpets and posture.
Yes. Yeah.
Fair play to him.
Yeah.
Like I don't.
If it wasn't for the big potato head on him, and he's got the same glasses as Dev.
He does, in fairness to him, but I want those as well. They look great.
Yeah,
it's like Oasis, but without the colourful lenses.
The round glasses. I said I was going to get them once, and then my friend was like, "But you've got such a round face. You've got such a round head."
You do have quite a round face and head.
Yeah, but that's how I found out.
It's like when you find. Well, that reminds me. I heard a lad tell me the other week. He knew a chap who he was going bald, but he found that information out when his girlfriend, who was his hairdresser, told him, as they were in the early stages of dating, and he was very upset with the whole ordeal. No, I'm not. What are you talking about? Of course I'm not. You're like, no, you've got a bald spot. What are you talking about?
My friend yesterday was telling me he found out he got sunburnt on the top of his head. And he's like, that's never happened before. What's going on there?
Oh,
receding hairline.
there you go. Bald.
Yeah, that's the way to find out.
Oh, shave it, lads. It's coming into the summer now. COVID's been a tough time for people, but coming out of it, I don't want to be seeing wispy bits of hair over the summer, right? Just buzz it off. Get rid, lads. If it starts going back, just be done with it. You look way better.
Yeah.
Start lifting weights. Get some tattoos. Learn how to kick things. It'll be grand. But now, and so you can hear him there. There's actually few enough samples of him talking online. You can't really find all too many videos or audio. So that's one of the rare examples we have of it. But he was the voice of Winston Churchill to the public, because he's he do some things like this, but mainly what he is he's doing information. So he's talking to the media. He's doing all of that crap.
It does sound like propaganda. Or they would just like release press statements or whatever,
but that's
the media.
and press statements.
How great the government's doing.
Yeah, pretty much the same thing they do now. It's just that back then it's in wartime, so it's called propaganda. But But now people were apprehensive about him being the head or the Minister of Information, because he was obviously, like, they knew he was tied to Churchill.
Yeah.
They knew, and Churchill had previously wanted the government to own and run the BBC, to have 100% control of it.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. To have what Germany had, basically, to like a full 100% overarching like stranglehold on the media in the country.
It's like, well, we disagree on policies, but I'm not saying, they've got some good ideas.
Yeah. Historically, Churchill liked a lot of Hitler's ideas.
Yeah, sure, yeah. I mean, okay, rounding up all those people and killing them, maybe we leave that part out, but I mean, ruling with an iron fist, control of the media, I like that.
Mm-hmm. But it's Bracken that said to have talked him out of it. Like a good lad.
Okay.
He's like, no, it needs to be. You can't do that because that's a bad thing. That's very much so the opposite of what you can't have good journalism or serious press if the government are in charge of it.
But I thought the BBC is government run now.
Well, it is now, I believe. No, yeah. I assume what that means is though that they have their separate. It's like RTE is 100% government run, whereas the BBC probably have some barrier in between where it's like, no, for the benefit of the British nation and empire, we can't allow people to get in charge and to silence the voice of the proletariat, etc. So I imagine there's some kind of a barrier there where like the government can't tell the BBC what to do and what not to do, but they definitely pay for everything that they do.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, that there in itself is another big thing he's after doing for the history of the world or / Britain.
Yeah.
So he's just taking all these things off the list. Fair play to him. And while Minister of Information, he thought best way to write good, like pro-England, pro-us stuff, get professional writers in.
Yeah, makes sense. Yeah.
Instead of just journalists, get people who can create a narrative instead of just writing, like reporting on news. So he goes and gets a young Eric Blair.
Okay. Who's Eric Blair?
What do you mean who is Eric Blair?
What's he done?
He's wrote a little book called 1984.
Oh, yes. It's George Orwell's real name. Yeah.
Yeah, you big silly Billy, Kev.
Yeah.
Now I bet you feel stupid.
So he hires the guy who wrote 1984 to write press releases.
So he hasn't
for the British government.
He hasn't wrote 1984 yet. 1984.
Oh, really? Yeah, do you reckon maybe he picks up
1984 was wrote in regards to his time spent working at the Ministry of Information under Brendan Bracken. That's why BB, Brendan Bracken, that's Big Brother.
Okay, now you're making you're joining up some dots here.
I don't know whatever you mean, sir.
Yeah, 100%. Brendan Bracken is Big Brother, confirmed.
No, he definitely is. People on the internet said it.
Well, fair enough.
Yeah, and what's better is they didn't back it up with any information. They didn't have any storylines, got no reference at all. Just the same sentence, and everywhere I looked, it just said, "Do you know he was Big Brother?" Yeah, he was Davina McCall.
Yeah. BB equals BB. That's all I need to know.
But now this is 1945. The Allies have won, Kevin, the World War II. As a reward for everything, Churchill makes Big Brother Brendan B.B. Bracken the First Lord of Admiralty. Or
the First Lord of Admirals?
Admiralty. I don't know.
Admiralty.
I've never had to say that word before.
Yeah, sure, no one has. That's not really a thing.
But well, Churchill held the position twice himself.
Oh, so it sounds like it's like the Lord of Lords.
Yeah, it's in the Navy. It's one of those, you're not really doing anything,
sure.
but it's ahead of, you get that title.
Yeah.
It's a good title to have.
It is, yeah. No one can say it.
Yeah, and you need to start, but we're getting to the age now where we need to start kind of accruing some titles, or else it's just not going to happen.
Yeah, if you're not, if you haven't got a lordship by the time you're 30,
yeah, it's kind of,
you may forget about it.
It's kind of like stand-up comedy and like half-hour specials.
Yeah, sure, yeah.
Time's ticking. You only have a couple more years to stay relevant. But in a shock turn of events, Kev, what happened just after World War II?
The Cold War?
The lesser-known World War III. No, the Churchill
War.
Churchill was ousted from government along with Bracken directly after the war. He was
sure.
Clement Attlee's Labour Party were the new hot ticket in town.
Right.
So now Bracken did try to run again down in Bournemouth, which must be lovely. That's like a very, if you're going to be a retirementy politician, Bournemouth would be lovely.
Yeah.
Down on the coast, it's gorgeous.
Yeah, but it's like, if you're like the wartime consigliere and the minister for propaganda, and then afterwards you try and run for a TD in like rural Clare.
Yeah,
it's not good. You're going to be bringing too much energy to the table. I think it's going to be hard to shift gears to that.
Maybe, but I think you'd
lads would be on about fixing roads, and you'd be like
fixing roads. Well, funny enough, you mentioned those roads. I remember when those roads were actually perfectly fine. I guess it was before the war that we won.
Yes,
that's when it was. Yeah. Yeah, but his love of media turned him back to magazines and publishing post-war, and he merged his financial news with its major competitor, Financial Times.
Okay,
and that's what brought them from a city publication to an absolutely big behemoth of a thing that they were to go on to become. He also set up History Today, which is still going strong.
Although now it's called History Yesterday.
But he's like Financial Times, huh?
Yeah, very impressive.
But he ended up, he had one more he got in there, I think, in Bournemouth, and he was there for a while, and he was meant to be well enough liked. But he was offered a chance to be. He had to turn down, I should say, the office of Colonial Secretary.
So he would have been Secretary of the Colonies.
Well, that's why I think it's probably just Colonel Secretary when, in 1951 when Churchill got back in power. This was Churchill's last time in government as well, but Bracken cited health reasons, and he was like, "Nah, I'm just too old," and he officially retired from politics.
Okay, or do you reckon that was the time finally when they're like, we can't have an Irishman in charge of the colonies?
Yeah, maybe. Just set them all free.
Yeah, that's just what I was thinking. Like, maybe he was just a deep agent, and as soon as he got in, he just let Northern Ireland go.
He's like our friend, was it Yaroslav or Yuri? What's his...
Yeah. Gurniak Yaroslav.
Yeah, there you go. That guy. Just England hand over all the control of the colonies to Brendan Bracken, come back to him 6 months later. He's like, funny enough, I could ask them, would they be willing to give back those colonies? But he's out of politics.
He's just
now.
like Kaiser Sose. Just as soon as he's handed the position, just like starts laughing and slowly drops the accent, whips out a paddy hat.
He takes off a wig and underneath it he has a paddy hat.
Yeah. He starts playing the Baron. Yo! Here we go. But instead of that, he just retired.
But tell me this: do you know when you get to the end of your career, or kind of life in general as well, you're well-to-do stock, what usually happens then?
For English people, you go retire in the south of France or Spain.
Well, I suppose, yeah. But I was going to say that you start accruing a load of those titles that don't really mean anything. Do you like? They just start landing you with like, oh, you're the Viscount Bracken.
Yeah.
Because he does. He becomes Viscount Bracken.
Oh, I'd say you were happy with that.
I was reading that. It was a lovely little end to the whole thing. I was like, happily ever after. Because he never took his seat at the House of Lords.
Right.
But I do think that, like, he was the only Irishman to have a seat in Parliament. Because for the longest time, Irish people couldn't have a seat in Parliament. He was just there in Parliament not saying he was Irish.
Yeah.
Probably voting against letting more Irish people in. It's like, no, they'll blow my cover.
We can have one Irishman.
But I know it's around this time that Churchill himself was having a tough run of it health-wise as well. He had a stroke in 1953, and it's said that Bracken helped him conceal it from the public.
Now, listen, Churchill, I know a thing or two about lying about my identity. You know, if you want to hide something from the public, I'm your man.
I don't know, Brendan. I'm going to talk very differently. I don't know how I can get that past it, but that's fine. Yeah. That's not don't worry. But
you'd be shocked. People
visually, I look so much different than what I should. That also isn't going to be a problem. Look at the colour of me head.
Yeah.
But with Bracken's health in decline as well, it was only a couple of years after. I suppose about 5 years, because on the 8th of August, 1958, at the age of 57. Bracken passes on from a lifetime of smoking fags.
Yeah.
Esophageal cancer.
Yeah, 57, it's not old. No, it's a young man. Well, not a young man, but it's not old.
No, but for then.
Yeah, I don't know.
If you live to 57 and you've gotten through the war, you've gotten through 2 wars.
Yeah. It's not a bad run, I suppose.
And you've been around rich people since you've been about 18.
Yeah.
So he's had a good life. He's had a good near 40 years of living it up.
Yeah, he had a good run of it, but esophageal cancer, that's not good.
No, that's one of the worst ones.
Yeah.
Cancer, that is. It's a bad thing. I've heard of all the medical conditions. The cancer is
it's a real cancer.
It's a real doozy. But when he was passing on, Kev, he decided that he was going to refuse the last rites. Apparently.
Oh, really?
He's not a Catholic in his head. He's an Englishman now.
Yeah, but surely there's some sort of Protestant last rites.
I think so, but not just. But the reason he had to refuse them was because it was his nephew was the priest who was trying to break in there to give them to him.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
Which I just think is fantastic. You're like, to your dying bed. Your last breath. And you just have someone there going like, he's not who he says he is. He's not who he says he is.
So his nephew, he has family in Ireland this whole time, obviously, then, who know who he is.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah, sure, he's been sending money back to them.
So, okay, yeah, because I was going to ask you.
It seems like a very badly kept secret that people just didn't really push too much.
Yeah. I was going to be like, when did all this come out, and like, when did people figure out who he was? But it seems like no one cared.
Yeah, but, I mean... Armin Tamzarian?
Yes.
Yeah, that's it. That's it.
You said that as if it proved the point of it.
Yes.
Let I remind you of Armin Tamzarian.
We're just saying that all the Simpsons, and not just everyone in the Simpsons universe, in like all the characters in that show, everyone outside who just in the real world who watched that show, we all agreed after that episode to go, okay, we're just going to go back to Skinner. Like, it's a fun little reference to go, oh yeah, Armin Tamzarian, but it is just Skinner. Like, they did that, and we know that that's that character's backstory, and we just don't care.
No, it was arguably one of the worst episodes. It was probably the first,
like one of the
very bad episodes.
It's like such a stupid idea. Why would he?
So yeah.
But anyway. But or else, I was going to say, Bracken might just be the world's best character actor, just right until the end. He says, nope.
Yeah.
You'd be a nightmare to work with on set. You'd be very little enough crack out of him. But, Jesus, committed.
Yeah, he's like fucking Daniel Day-Lewis.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, definitely in between takes. You're like, all right, relax, Bracken, okay? Just settle down.
I remember heard years ago that Daniel Day-Lewis, when he was living in Wicklow, I guess he still does, I don't know, but when he was getting in character to play Lincoln, he was like walking around town dressed as Abe Lincoln, talking like Abe Lincoln, and you're like, that's great, but also, if I was some like 20-year-old in a shop and Daniel Day-Lewis walked in talking to me like Abe Lincoln, I'd be like, I made 8.65 an hour. I make 8.65 an hour. This is shite. This is fucking shite.
Why would that be? That'd be a highlight of your day.
Oh, can I take a selfie?
Oh,
Whatever is a selfie? Oh, this contraption. Oh, no, nightmare.
Did you reckon? Yeah, do you reckon he needed to find live summer with the? He wanted to go back and live like they lived in the 1860s and ended up in Wicklow.
He just moved to Wicklow. Yeah, I could see it happening.
He just went to Wicklow. Yeah, yeah, rampant disease, no electricity,
a hatred of the English.
Yeah. Burgeoning slave trade. I'll move to Wicklow.
But speaking of people who moved, Bracken, well, I suppose he never went back. Twice in his life, he goes back to Ireland after he went over to England to become the big fancy man. Even though it's just across the water.
Yeah, tis not far.
Although maybe you'd be worried that people would spot you. They'd be like, that's Brendan Bracken.
Yeah.
I suppose they'd be right. That is his name.
But of course, they would. Yeah, it is.
But they'd just
and
be
is he not going back to visit his home?
No, so he went back one time to visit for his mother's funeral,
right?
1928. Now it's said that he missed the mass, but he made the burial.
Yeah, that's not really good enough.
But he cried.
Okay, that's good, I suppose.
Yeah. So as long as you miss the mass, but you're there for the burial, I feel a lot of people do that. A lot of people, Irish lads, don't like going into
for your own parent.
Some lads wouldn't even bother going back.
That's true. That's true. Send a card.
Yeah. Don't even bother. They're not going to be reading it.
Yeah.
Because they're dead.
Well, you have to go to the first one, and then when the second one dies, yeah, sure, who's going to know if you don't show up?
The other time was by happenstance. On the way, he was off to...
He went by accident.
Yeah. He was off to a conference in Canada. It was known as the Canada Conference.
So
it was 19...
He was going to the Canada Conference. He hopped into a taxi, found himself in Dublin several hours later. The driver was like, "Jizz, you're not going to believe this."
Well, it was actually Limerick that he ended up in.
Right.
Because on the way there, the plane needed to pull over and have some repairs done to it. So it stopped off for 2 days in Limerick. And
that is a lot of repairs.
He jumps out of the plane and gets all the gang, the crew, and says, "Right, boys, I'm going to show you around my old stomping grounds for back when I used to go mitching in Limerick."
Right. So he really doesn't give a fuck.
Oh, well, yeah, no, that...
As in, if he's... They're like, "What do you mean? Aren't you from... When were you ever in Limerick?"
Yeah, I'd say at that point...
don't worry about it.
At that point, they just realised he was really good at his job and a lunatic.
Yeah,
like,
sure.
All right, no, he's... But, well, so... He goes around and tries to show them all about the place, like his childhood, all the things he used to do, whatever the heck. And it said they didn't believe him.
Okay.
Because he was known as such a liar that they were like, what a great jolly old boy that Brendan is. An entire improv walking tour of the city he knew nothing of.
He's flying too close to the sun at this point.
Mm-hmm. But I think
that's outrageous.
I think they just don't care, and he obviously doesn't have too much of an affiliation with being like Irish or like the cause. So they're just like, and you can trust him. He's grand. He's one of the good ones.
Yeah, you can trust him. He just lied about who he is.
Now his love life, Kev.
Oh yeah,
it was. Oh, let me tell you this now.
Salacious.
Not very interesting at all.
Yeah. Okay.
Despite social gatherings and galas and such, he wasn't really a ladies' man. There's no accounts of him dating at all. It is said he was meant to be friendly with a girl by the name of Penelope Dudley Ward, whose ma was rumoured to be the mistress of the Prince of Wales.
Okay. Penelope Dudley Ward is an interesting name.
Yes. And it has a particularly British middle name.
Yeah.
Because Dudley is like... Dudley... could be. It was the Harry Potter's cousin or
That's
whatever?
Exactly, yeah. Dudley Dursley.
Yeah, because I was thinking of him and then also the Dudley brothers from wrestling.
Of course. So you're in with good stuff.
Devon, get the table! If putting people through tables is wrong, then I don't want to be right.
That's what she said all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So do you reckon... Well, sure, who knows? He could have been asexual.
Well, I was going to say with Penelope, he never made a move, and later said that she turned him down for marriage, and that's why he never went on and married again. She, on the other hand, said that he never proposed.
Right.
That was never a thing.
Oh, yeah.
But he had a lot of friends who were fellas, and in fairness, some high profile female friends in the 1930s or so. But even his biggest fans think that that was more for show, because he was too busy. You know, he was actually too busy for love. That's what it was. Probably not, maybe gay.
But probably, maybe just a workaholic.
Yeah, more obsessed with, like, power was his mistress.
Yeah.
Wealth was his love, etc. All of those. You just keep doing that. Here.
Having a load of money was his bit on the side. Being in charge was his slam piece. Power was his mistress. That was a much more eloquent way of putting it.
It was a lot better than my second choice, which was being an editor for newspapers is like riding a one without a Johnny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lying about his identity is like raw dogging on the first date.
But so that's pretty much all of them. There's two other little extra bits. Churchill's son Randolph described him as the fantasist whose dreams came true, which is just good words. A lot better than
what we just did.
Yeah, what we were just saying.
Yeah, or even just there when you said good words.
Good words.
Good words.
Good. Very good words.
I don't think either of us will be able to like hide ourselves as, you know, slip into high British society.
No.
I'd imagine like I'd probably be good enough at it for a few days, and then I'd see you'd bump into someone from back home and just be like, "How are you getting on, man?" "Well, hi." Mm-hmm. Or you'd one drink down the bar and then just go back to full Bosco.
I'd have one pint in me and I'd start slapping lads in the back, telling them that they're great men.
He's a great lad. He's a great lad. I know together. Oh, Jesus. You'd be up on top of the table, singing songs, singing Spancel Hill.
I definitely find myself doing that kind of stuff the older I get, where it's like, it's the same as I love those little like colloquialisms or like, you know, just sentences that people from the country say, just like things that are lost. Like, there's a wrinkle on your arse that you never knew you had. Just like when you learn something new. Just like, that's a beautiful phrase.
It is a beautiful phrase. It's good words, is what it is.
Or you know, as that lad, he's as thick as a bottle of shite. Or he's as mad as a bag of spiders.
Yeah.
I just, all of those, and then just like shaking people's hands. And just like, I think I'm just slowly turning into an old Irishman.
Yeah, shake hands. He claps the hands together.
I'll do the double shake, or I'll do one, and then I'll tap their arm as well. And if I'm ever leaving a conversation now, or trying to, like, if I'm saying goodbye to them or something, I'll always do the shoulder tap as I'm leaving. Go on, yourself, go on.
Go on,
or, you know,
get out.
It's like, do you know, in the Santa Claus with Tim Allen.
Yeah. So you're over there trying to reinvent yourself. You're shaving the beard every morning, and then the next day the paddy cap is there again.
Yeah. I shave the head, wake up looking like Richie Kavanagh. But yeah, it's a thing. I can't turn back time. I can't stop it. I just have to. I feel like it's kind of like Dante's Inferno. I have to go through the whole thing. I have to go through the 9 layers of it now. I just have to turn into. To find the meaning of life, basically, is what it is. And then I can go back to being a normal-aged Irish person.
Now, there's the sort of quality you get in this podcast. A reference to the Santa Claus and Dante's Inferno within the same breath.
And not even jokingly. Just like that's...
No, Jay, those are the two to explain what you're talking about. Like, it's like Santa Claus or Dante's Inferno. One of them two.
Yeah. Let's see. Yes. Okay, because I said earlier on he was the only Irishman to be in British government during the 20th century, which is good as well. And then a quick shout out, because I did get some of the information out from this from Irish Central, our friends over there at Irish Central.
Oh yes,
because I got these quotes from them as well as reading some of the stuff earlier on. So it said, an acquaintance once said of Brendan, which is that's like the Sun or the Daily Mail. It's like a source close to them says. It's like, what do you mean acquaintance? What's their name?
So whenever the Sun says like a friend or a source close to them, that just means we've hacked your phone.
Yeah, or we've made it up entirely.
Oh, we've made it up, sure, yeah.
That's what I was. Why did they have to hack phones when they could have just lied?
Yeah.
So stupid. It was kind of the same as like when Chris D'Elia was like trying to prove his innocence of going like, no, I'll show you. Here's all these 10,000 emails of me talking to young girls. I haven't met up or had sex with any of them. You're like, but you didn't need to tell us that you like 10,000 messages. Like you did prove that you're innocent, but also now you seem far creepier, just way creepier. Like this is an entire system that you've organized.
I didn't realize this was he's just grooming them all. I didn't hear that part.
Yeah, because he would like talk to them if they were underage, and he would be the one he would reach out like, you know, a year after saying, oh, I'm back in town or wherever, and then they're of age. It was like, for you to remember to know that, you'd have to like take their their information, put it into a Google Doc related to a city, and then like, you know, Control F search that in a Google
just
Doc
got, like,
every time.
An Excel spreadsheet, just like tick it over. That's fuck.
Yeah, it's creepy as shit. But I'll finish off on this. But yeah, an acquaintance once said, everything about you is phony, Brendan. Even your hair, which looks like a wig, isn't.
Right. So wait, so is this saying his hair looks like a wig?
Yeah,
but it's
not.
Right.
And then, and in an Irish Times article I read, it said he was a fan of Kevin O'Higgins, but had no time for later Irish politicians. He denounced the surrender in 1938 of the ports in Ireland, retained by the British, when they gave it back to good old Éire, and was quoted as saying that would alienate our friends in the north.
Yeah. I was up at Dunree Fort, is it? The one in Donegal there, like last week.
When do you be doing all of these things? You never be. You tell me when you're back.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like a lot of the times in this podcast, I'd be like, oh yeah, I was there the other day. But I was in Donegal. I only heard about that. I was visiting a friend, my friend Joe, and he was saying that the fort next to him was one of the ones that was returned in exchange for nothing.
Mm-hmm. Which is always a good trait.
Yeah. I'd actually started reading about it. There wasn't a whole lot to it, but it was it must have been Dev, was it? It
would have been, I think so, yeah.
Yeah, I think they just gave it back.
Yeah, no,
which is unlike them.
Yes, but it was because we wouldn't attack them. I guess it was one of those we'll placate you for a little bit. We're just like, right, we're very busy at the minute, lads. We're very, very busy. How about you just have the ports back?
But it's weird. Like, yeah, it's a cool fort, and then it's strange seeing artillery guns. You know, there's like giant artillery guns set up into the sides of the thing. You don't really see that here. You see it like in most European countries, you see it, but not.
Not so much.
But that's interesting that Bracken was against it because, I think Churchill was one of the few people who was openly against it.
Because he was like, well, what? So if I'm reading this correctly, we just handed back 3 ports in return for nothing.
Yeah.
Which, you know, he's not wrong.
And I believe what it says here is all we get in return is a clean conscience. Send him to Australia.
Yeah.
Well, sure. I think did I said that in the first episode as well? Didn't I? I think that like when he lost some of his power earlier on initially was because when Bracken had to step down to follow Churchill, even though they were opposite sides of the party system over in England at the time when they were both elected. That it was because they were like, hey, let's give some stuff back to India because we've kind of fecked them over a lot as well. And Churchill was very much so, no, let's not do that. Let's take more.
Yeah. Well, that's what they say about him, that he's a good wartime prime minister. But that's
what they got rid of him like as soon as that wasn't.
Yeah, sure, yeah. Although, but from what I didn't know that he came back then again.
Yeah, he got back in like a good few years after again. But it's the same thing where it's like it's the same reason why like Sam Allardyce manages relegation teams. There's like or there's some people you just always go back to because it's like, right, stiff upper lip, safe pair of hands, keep calm, carry on, and like that's the person right for that specific job. And then outside of that, you're like, right, time to build, time to like create, time to do. No, you can't be here for any of this. This is not what you. No. It's the better the devil you know for specific situations.
Sure, yeah. I suppose with a bit of distance, then a couple of years later, you're like, sure, maybe it wasn't so bad. And I recognize the name. be good to have old Winston back. Remember when we won World War II? That was class. And then as soon as he's back in. Exactly. 2 World Wars and 1 World Cup.
There you go.
But then as soon as he gets back in, he starts talking about annexing parts of India and stuff like yeah. Oh yeah,
I forgot about that.
I remember that.
That's what it was. Yeah.
The war actually wasn't great. But now that I think about it,
it's like when you
it was pretty shit.
Have you ever gone back and like seen an ex again? A few years after, like even just hooked up with them, and then you're like, oh, because for a second it seemed like a good idea, and then you're like, oh, this is why I forgot all of this. This is exactly why in the first place.
Yes.
This is fuck.
This is why I made that decision the last time.
Yeah. Oh,
nothing's changed.
Well, can't back out twice, so better just live the rest of my life like this.
Yeah.
Oh, because if you can't do that to someone, you can't break up with someone and then get back with them and then break up with them again.
Well, you absolutely. I mean, you shouldn't, but you can.
Oh, you can, and you probably should, but
and you do, yeah.
For the benefit of your own life, yeah. For your life, you should. For them,
you shouldn't get yourself into that situation.
Yeah. But I was going to. I should have, if I had my brain screwed on properly, I would have jumped in when you said, "Was it Dev?" Because I was going to finish the whole podcast on a little thing about Dev, because he had said that he wasn't a fan of De Valera, and at one point referred to Ireland as those lousy neutrals during World War II.
Right.
And said the Irishmen fighting that war were ashamed of Ireland and its leaders for not helping out. Which is not true, I imagine.
Well, no. I'm not sure. I'm sure some of them probably were.
If any of those people could go join the war for England or for a different nation, and you're like, no, because I don't have to leave my country. You're going to have to do that anyway. If you're going fighting, you're going to have to.
Yeah, sure enough.
So
it doesn't
there's
matter.
absolutely zero difference whether Ireland join or just we send our people, and then they get paid by England instead of us paying them to die for a war that we have nothing to do with.
Sure.
But that's also just the opinion I have right now without having thought about it at all.
Well, I'd imagine maybe it'd be a bit awkward, I suppose, if you're out fighting in the trenches alongside all these other people dying in the mud to beat the evil Nazis, and like your government isn't. I don't know. I'd imagine, it probably put them in an awkward position, because I'd imagine there's a lot of like camaraderie, and you're fighting the enemy is the worst thing that's ever happened to the world, and your side, your country isn't on board. I
mean, also, you could just lie about your accent and say that you're from Australia.
Yeah, sure, yeah. I'm part of the Anzac.
But yeah, that's the end of Brendan Bracken for you.
Yes, very good.
Part 2. Remember that last week when you didn't have anything to do and you were bored at home and you were just wanking?
You're like, what's going to happen to Brendan Bracken? I can't Google it. It just won't be the same. I need Jason to tell me. I have to wait 7 days to find out.
I know. What are you going to do for those 7 days? Maybe try and trick me into it? What are we going to do on Monday? Take me for a drink on Tuesday? Try and make love to me by Wednesday? What are we going to do then for Thursday, Friday and Saturday? Make love again? What then? If we do that for the entire week, what are we going to do on Sunday? Just chill.
Yeah, and chill on Sunday. So, what are the actual lyrics of that song?
Oh, it's...
Because it seems like he starts off with a day thing and then gives up. He can only think of something to do for 3 days. He's like,
so quickly.
So quickly.
He gives up on it
Thursday, Friday.
He gives up on it within one word, because it starts with Monday. Took her for a drink on Tuesday. We were making love on Wednesday. And on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, we chilled on Sunday.
So, like, what the hell is he talking
about? So, Monday, the premise... Monday, he's forgot. Tuesday, we went out and had some drinks. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, we fucked. And then on Sunday, we just Netflixed and chilled.
It's a great premise. I love that. That's fantastic. Monday, don't worry about that one.
Oh, it was like that song is so good. It's just like every part of it just makes no sense. And I love it. Like when he's talking about how he meets that girl, is that he says like he sees some beautiful girl standing around, and then she asks him for the time, and then he says it cost her a name, 6-digit number, and a date with me tomorrow at 9.
Right.
Yeah.
So
did she decline? No. Didn't she mind? I don't think so. Was it for real? Damn sure. What was the deal? A pretty girl aged 24. So was she keen? She couldn't wait. Cinnamon Queen, let me update. What did
Cinnamon
she say?
Queen.
Yeah, I don't know what that means. I feel like that's an Urban Dictionary. That's kind of one of those things, if I Google that and on Urban Dictionary, it's like a Boston pancake or something. It's going to be in my brain, and at some point someone's going to reference it, and I'm going to blurt it out in public, like in work.
Sure. A cinnamon queen is a type of hen.
Ah.
What? The cinnamon queens are wonderful egg layers and can take the cold hardiness of winter. So maybe he's just like, yep, this woman has good eggs and she'll last through December.
I mean, that's what more could you want in her?
That's what you want in a partner, yeah. So she asked him the time, and he's like, "What's your name, your number, and go out with me tomorrow."
Yeah,
it's a bit like that. Don't worry about it, man.
She would just go. No, you're grand then.
Yeah, you're grand. I'll just look at the clock.
He would literally just turn to the next person and go, "Do you have the time?"
Okay, you're driving a hard bargain. I will just ask for your number and your name.
Okay, that doesn't work. How about I follow you for the next 2 days?
Yeah. Monday, I was following her home. Tuesday, breaking in her house by Wednesday.
And on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I just pretty much hung outside of her house, just throwing rocks at the window, asking why wouldn't she call me back. But yeah, that was... I don't know if you know that I'm a big Craig David fan.
No, are you? Yeah, so what's Craig David at now?
Very little. He's back. He's doing songs again. He's like he did a comeback the other year, but I didn't care about that. It's kind of like Pokemon. I only really cared about the first 151, and it's same as Craig David. I only care about that like first album, maybe the second one. But yeah, that was Brendan Bracken.
But that was
it. Bookended with some Bo Selecta Craig David.
Yeah, very good. That's he's not a proud Irishman, but still good to see that one of our own. He's did well for himself.
Out there doing his bit. Getting it done.
He denounced us and he was ashamed of us, but at the same time, fair play to him.
Mm-hmm. Right, sure, look, I'll chat to you whenever, Kev, but I'll chat to you, the listeners, next week.
Yes.
Yes.
Good luck.
Good luck. Shafter.